It's Patrick Sutton from Milner. And Patrick's been with us for how many years, Patrick? Well, since 13. And by the way, Patrick's also in our Leaders Forum, which is our management class, as well as in the Sales Forum, this class. So Patrick, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Al. This is exactly why I didn't want to go last, because the previous three, great job. Yeah, and it's hard to believe I've been in Sandler that long.
Yeah.
Since 2013.
Yeah, well,
I was actually invited by Gene, and I've known.
That's right.
Yeah, I've known Gene for probably, I don't know, what, 15 years maybe. And he invited me to Sandler training, and I've been coming ever since.
Nice. So tell us about your before and after Sandler experience.
Yeah, so a couple of things stick out. Number one, prior to coming to Sandler, I realized that not only myself but my team, we were in the proposal generation business. I think Kevin said it best earlier. Whoever wants a quote gets a quote, and it also made us feel like we're doing something productive, and got to get all these quotes out. Got a lot of business we're working on, and we were just quoting and hoping. The second thing that really sticks out is when it came time to negotiate. And if you're in sales, you're going to find yourself in a negotiation situation, in our case, daily. And prior to Sandler, my kind of go-to was, hey, let me go talk to, my vice president and see if I can, throw in something or sweeten the pot, which I hate that term. We don't use that any longer. And so the first move when it came to negotiating, we were focused on price. And after Sandler, our first move, we're going to get the price, right? But our first move is usually a reverse. And there's all kinds of reverses. It really depends on the situation. But point being, when you enter into negotiations, our first move is not to discuss price.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, it leads us into the BAT triangle. Well, actually, let's put that off. I know you wanted to cover some other things first.
Yeah.
So you have a favorite Sandler rule?
I do. It's by far the one that sticks out the most for me is number 3, no mutual mystification.
Yeah,
I was, and I didn't even know it, but I had happy ears all the time. Hey man, we love this quote.
You're the only one that's ever had that problem, by the way.
They loved my quote. I would end the day and head to the gym just happy as could be because they loved my quote.
Of course they did, yeah.
But that didn't tell me anything, right? In fact, if you really take a deep dive into it, there's a reason they're telling you that. You just don't know that you're column C or D on that Excel spreadsheet, yeah. Right? But they need your price and they need you to be involved. So whoever they have already made their mind up to do business with, they can still get your price.
Yes, there you go. In other words, they're using you.
Yeah.
But you believe them because they say good things. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really helped me as a sales manager, because I had one of my reps not long ago come back from a deal. I could not go to the fulfillment step with him, but I did go on the initial call. He came back and I asked him. I said, "Hey, how'd it go? Presenting?" And he said the L word. They loved it. They told me it was great. And he said, I really think we're going to get that business. I said, well, tell me why. And he said, well, they thought my proposal was great. And I said, okay, tell me why do you think we're going to get the deal? And he just kind of looked at me. And I said, I went on the initial call with you, right? They're overpaying and they're reducing the amount of equipment they're buying. Every quote they get, they're going to love and think is great.
And he still looked at you like he had three eyes.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of those kinds of stories, I know you have a great story to share with us from your Sandler experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So just a little background. We brought on a client back in 2003. It was either 03 or 04. And it was a very large client. And this large client grew probably, I'm going to say, over 400% since we got their business. So just a tremendous growth. And I hired a sales rep, actually stole her from a competitor. She was awesome. And she manages the account. And so good news, bad news. The bad news is, you know, when you talk about burning bridges, I told her when she came on to Milner that 80% of her income is going to be managing this account. And I also told her every day that we have this account is a day longer than we probably should have it. Not because of price, not because of service, but because I know that this account is on top of every one of my competitors' target list. So anyway, tremendous growth. They have a policy to where they have 2 vendors for every segment of their business. Even landscaping, they use 2 different companies. Food service, 2 different companies. We are the only single line vendor that they have. And so all this came to head probably, I'm going to say fall of 2015. And we got a phone call. There was a cost cutter that had gotten to the president and CEO of this company. And most of you know what a cost cutter is. It's someone that comes in, looks across your enterprise, and whatever savings they can find you, they pay a commission on. So what's worse is this cost cutter had an alliance with a dealer up in New York. And so they were very familiar with our business model, extremely familiar with our pricing, our service pricing, everything. So you talk about losing control of an account. We got an email from our main contact electronically introducing us to this cost cutter, attached PDFs where they had signed documents giving them permission to get every single copy of every single contract we had ever written with that company. Give it up. And that was not a good day for us. And so we had a meeting scheduled that next week to come in and discuss it. That was it was November 18th, 2015. It was a Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning.
You called me before that meeting.
I did.
Yes, we had a coaching session on how to handle that meeting.
Yep. And you know, when out after that coaching session, I sat down with my rep and told her how we were going to handle the situation, and she fought me on it. And I fought her back, and I realized a couple things. Number one, she's not in Sandler, so she doesn't know the angle that I'm coming at. And number two, going back to 80% of her income, no wonder she didn't want to handle it this way. But I looked at her and I said, hey, listen, we're going to find out if this Sandler crap works. Okay. And Al, I know you don't want to hear that, but that's literally what I told her. And so we go on the call and walk in, and the main decision maker, not a nice guy. And he said, this is going to be a very short conversation. I've got pricing. He had a couple sheets of paper, slid the paper across the desk, and said, you guys are overcharging us. And I just listened to him. And so he's going off. And then finally, when he stops, he says, we could save probably almost 25% by switching vendors. And I said, okay. And I said, have you added up how much that's going to save you annually? And he said, well, no, I just, I got percentages. And I said, let's do that. And I could tell my rep next, she was to the left of me and she was getting very nervous. So we added up how much it would save them annually. Then I asked him, I said, hey, let's see how much it would save you over the next 3 years. And it was a little north of $800,000. But the lease terms were different, and I knew that. So it really wasn't a fair comparison. But I put my phone down and I looked at him, and this is the moment where I had learned what 10 seconds of guts are. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? I said, that's a tremendous amount of money. If I were you, I'd take it. And it was a stare off, right? Because every other, what I learned,
lunch, right?
Yeah, what I learned later, our main contact told us that every other vendor they met with did the whole, oh, well, you know, we're going to go back to the powers to be. We're going to discount. We're going to do this and all that. Not us. And so there was a silence. And my old training told me, you know, when there's silence, whoever speaks next owns it. And that's totally not true. So I looked at him and I said, seriously, give me one good reason why you wouldn't take that deal. And he looked at me and he said, well, I've never done business with this company. I don't know how their service is. And I said, well, that's one reason. Give me another reason. He ended up giving me 3 reasons why he's not going to take that deal. And it was an unbelievable moment. Did we go back and tweak our prices just a little? It was a very little. But I guarantee you it wasn't as much as every other vendor they had met with.
And you kept the account.
Yeah, they're actually still growing. Yeah.
Great story. Great story.